Hey listeners, did you know that over 70% of English learners say tiny word combos trip them up more than any grammar rule?
That's a striking figure, Alex. Today, we're unpacking those tiny combos that change meaning in a flash.
By the end of this episode, you'll know what each phrase means and how to drop them naturally into conversation.
We'll split them into 4 bite-sized groups, give clear definitions, and pepper in real-world examples you can start using right away.
So, grab a notebook and let's dive into the first batch of compliance phrases.
First up, compliance and obligation. Alex, when someone says abide by a rule, what are they really telling us?
They're saying you should follow it without exception. For example, you must abide by the campus policies.
Exactly. And adhere to carries the same meaning but feels a bit more formal. Think scientists must adhere to ethical standards.
But here's what's really interesting. Advise against flips the script. It warns you not to do something. Like, I advise against investing in that startup right now.
And allow for adds a planning nuance, making room for possibilities. The budget allows for unexpected expenses. That wraps up compliance, so let's move to action verbs.
When you act on advice, you turn it into action. She decided to act on the doctor's recommendation.
In contrast, act out means expressing feelings through behavior, often dramatically. He tends to act out his frustration in meetings.
And act up describes misbehavior or a malfunction. The printer is acting up again.
Now, apply for is a straightforward request for acceptance, like she will apply for a scholarship next month. And when we arrive at a conclusion, we've reached a final point. For example, after hours of debate, they arrived at a compromise.
That transition brings us to communication verbs. What most people don't realize is how subtle the differences can be.
Answer back often carries a sassy tone. He shouldn't answer back to his boss. Meanwhile, answer for implies taking responsibility. The manager will answer for the project's failure.
Answer to is similar, but usually directed at a higher authority. All employees must answer to the board. And appeal to means to attract or persuade. The charity's message appeals to our sense of compassion.
When you ask after someone, you're checking on their well-being. Did you ask after your aunt when you called? And ask around means gathering info from multiple sources. She asked around to find the best mechanic.
Don't forget, ask in, inviting someone inside. Feel free to ask in when you arrive. And the classic ask out for a date. He finally asked her out for coffee.
Now let's shift to the number side of language. Here's where it gets fascinating. Quantitative verbs often double as figurative tools.
Account for means to explain or include. The report must account for seasonal variations. Add up can be literal math or sense-making. The numbers don't add up, something's wrong. And amount to expresses total value. His efforts amount to a significant impact.
When we say temperatures average out at a figure, we're describing a mean result. The temperatures average out at 20 degrees in spring. And to angle for is to strategically position yourself. Like, she angled for a promotion by taking extra projects.
Now, on to the emotional side. To ache for conveys a deep longing. She aches for adventure after months of routine. And to aim at sets a target. The campaign aims at increasing awareness.
When we allude to something, we hint without stating it directly. He alluded to the scandal without naming names. To attest to is to bear witness. The witness attested to the events of that night.
Finally, avail oneself of means to make use of an opportunity. Students should avail themselves of the tutoring center. And that's just the beginning. Imagine how mastering these can boost your fluency.
We've unpacked over 20 phrases, from compliance to desire, each with its own nuance.
Remember, the key is to practice them in context, not just memorize definitions.
Try swapping a familiar verb with one of these new combos in your next conversation and notice the difference.
In our next episode, we'll explore idiomatic expressions that involve colors and emotions. Stay tuned for more language magic.
Thanks for joining us on Language Lab. Keep exploring, keep speaking, and we'll catch you next time.